Well, in Turkey, journalists trying to report on earthquake-affected areas have repeatedly been prevented from doing so by authorities. The organization Reporters Without Borders has documented numerous violations of press freedoms. DW's correspondent Jack Parrock met a group of women in Brussels who say they're working outside of mainstream Turkish news organizations to help provide the public with a clearer picture of what's actually happening on the ground.
Streaming her own news show online to an audience of nearly 500,000. Nevşin Mengu says she was booted out of mainstream Turkish media a couple of years back for reporting that President Erdogan's meeting with the former US president was shorter than the government had claimed. Here in the European Parliament in Brussels, Nevşin says the platform she runs herself allows her to report outside of government-controlled media.
I don't feel I'm on my own because I have my viewers. As I said, it's not like the TV. It's like you are a big family, basically. People own you in a sense. And I feel that, and I'm very active also on Twitter. And one thing interesting about the authoritarian system in Turkey, if something is trending, it's like basically the government takes a step back. That's, I don't know why, but because I think that sort of authoritarian governments also derive their power from popular support.
Other Turkish women, like author Ece Temulkuran, are also raising their voices following the devastating earthquakes in Turkey, which have given fresh impetus to opposition parties hoping to oust President Erdogan.
99% of the mainstream media is being controlled by Erdogan personally. And even in these circumstances, even the journalists who have been fearing before the earthquake are now raising their voices and showing the truth. I think this is the moment that the truth prevails over the fear.
We reached out to the Turkish government for response without reply yet. President Erdogan has faced heavy criticism for restricting press access around the earthquake and for a slow aid response. He publicly accepted it should have been quicker. But he's pressing ahead with the planned elections on May the 14th. The shifting media landscape, the civil society dialogue, the political circumstances around the elections are all going to have major effects outside of Turkey's border. And the question is whether here in Brussels there's a clear enough understanding of how these shifts might change the relationship between Turkey and the European Union. The head of the European Parliament's Committee on EU Relations with Turkey fears there's a lot of work still to be done.
Whatever is the result of the elections, we need dramatic changes in democratic standards and maybe a more consensual approach in foreign policy.
Nevşin says she's bracing for May's elections and hopes that no matter which parties Turkish people support, the country can retain the unity people have shown since the earthquakes.
Well, it has been 4 weeks since devastating earthquakes hit southern Turkey and northwestern Syria. The death toll stands at more than 50,000, and millions have lost their homes. Now, aid organizations are sounding the alarm on another consequence of the disaster, the emotional trauma facing survivors. But what kind of support is available to help them? DW visited a temporary shelter near the Syrian town of Afrin to see if and how trauma is being addressed.
This tent in the temporary shelter camp near the Syrian city of Afrin has become the home of Zuhala and her children after their actual home was destroyed by the earthquake. Zuhala lost her parents in the disaster, which has had a severe psychological impact on both her and her children. I remember how they died in front of me when the building collapsed. I began to feel afraid. I couldn't sleep because I felt so scared. Sometimes my eldest son just cries. My other son is 4 years old and he suffers from trauma. A lack of specialised medical facilities and staff means it's very hard to get access to psychological treatment in this region. The priority in northern Syria is currently to treat the injured and meet the basic needs of those affected. Despite the difficult situation, some mobile teams from relief organisations are trying to offer psychosocial support for children through fun, play-based activities. Many of the children are still fearful, shy and afraid of sudden movements or sounds. This is what we see when we meet them to provide psychological support. Zuhala has been connecting with her new neighbours at the camp in the hope that she might be able to forget her ordeal for a while. But the improvised nature of living conditions here serves as a constant reminder of what they have all been through.